Is the ideal Sponger life worth your time? Join me and find out.
That Man and His Manga.
Hello and welcome to That Man. That is me, Merchandise, and today we are looking at The Ideal Sponger Life. Now this is a title that has been published by J Novel Club, so as always go check them out. I'll link in the description, and it is, as you can probably guess, another isekai. However, this series actually manages to pull out some interesting developments. So join me as we have a look and see why this series may be worth your time. But before we get into all of that, if you're new to the channel and love all things manga and collecting, from figures to anime and light novels, do me a favour and subscribe and ring that bell so you don't miss out on new weekly videos. The ideal Sponger life starts with a young man being taken into another world. He meets the absolutely beautiful Queen Aura, who gives him a proposal. Marry me and live out the rest of your life in this world. He's not sure, he's a bit confused as why this beautiful woman has automatically summoned him into this other world just to marry him. And he soon discovers that all of this bloodline, this beautiful woman's bloodline, is about to die out. She is the queen of the royal family of this country, and in order to preserve that bloodline, in order to get that isekai summoning power, she has tried to isekai him because he, in a parallel dimension, has this bloodline. Are you keeping up yet? In order to keep that bloodline pure, she wants him to marry him in a bit of a convenient wedding. That's right, it's a wedding of convenience. She gets an heir and he gets to live out his life in essentially rent-free. A sponger is essentially somebody who's just going to mooch off somebody else. Somebody who may live with their parents, or they're not really contributing to rent or anything like that. Now, this young man, he's worked all of his life. He's been doing 150 hours each week or each month, I don't know. I'm assuming it's each week. And he's saving up. He's saved up so much money, but he's not been given any chance to use this money. So he's kind of thinking, oh, this might be a nice change. And all she wants is him just to kind of be married to her. She doesn't want him to do anything. So he's just like, yeah, this could be my way of relaxing a little bit. What I liked about this series is how in depth it went. This character is then put back into the original world and told, in a month's time we'll summon you again if you want to get married, and then you can live the life here. We'll give you this magic carpet as well, and this magic carpet will transport anything in the carpet to this world. So he's automatically thinking just like, right, this is an isekai world, I'm going to take this, and this. And what we have is essentially pages and pages and pages of this man just setting up a water generator in order to take it with him. So he's got electricity in order to play games. Yeah, I didn't expect all of this from a series like this. I like the aspect of a character having that choice of being isekai'd and being able to prepare for it, rather than just being walking down the street, hit by a truck and then transported into another world. It makes you think, what would you take on an isekai? Let me know in the comments, and it's something I think would be an interesting talking point. What would you take on an isekai if you could take it with you? Now, the ideal Sponger life, as you can expect from the cover, it's got a fair amount of ecchi, and these are adult characters, so every now and again it will pull back and just be like, oh well, they had sex. And it's that kind of weird position where it's just like, it doesn't want to be a full-blown hentai, but it also wants to include this stuff. So it's kind of, it feels a little bit weird, it feels a little bit uncomfortable, it pulls you out of the general action. But apart from that, the series does do a lot of things rather well. I love the aspect of this character being brought into another world, and he has to go through all of the stuff like learning the language, and this is an undeveloped country, so they've got to learn how to read and write or do maths, and obviously they get introduced to all of this future stuff, so they're getting introduced to simple stuff just like glass or cutlery. And I like that little aspect of having all these little things and having the isekai world actually having to react and think about what is being brought, rather than other titles such as Ascendance of a Bookworm, where they're just kind of just like, oh, we'll invent this, and then it's just like, oh yeah, and this is a marvellous invention. We have all of the stuff getting brought to us, so it is everyone reacting to this, and he does choose some rather interesting things to bring with him, which I leave to you guys' imagination on what he might bring to a queen as beautiful as Aura. Remember, this is an adult. One thing I loved about this is that rather than being isekai'd into, you know, the usual medieval fantasy world, he's isekai'd into essentially Saudi Arabia, and so it's slightly different. To feel rather than living in the castle, he lives in a beautiful desert palace, and he's just like, oh well, the heat is unbearable because they essentially live in the middle of the desert, and a lot of the characters and themes are more centered around that. I love that aspect. I love that as a genuine change of scenery to what we normally see in normal isekai titles. It's one that I don't see done very often, and I feel it's done rather well. And this is one of the things I liked about this series. It's that it feels like while it's an isekai, while you're getting a lot of the traditional trappings of an isekai, it's a lot of really good moments with it, and it's one that I feel like a lot of people may genuinely enjoy. Now, I'm not gonna lie, this series, it struggles with some things. Like I said, it does bog itself down. It looks like it's going to be a harem series because they're kind of building up with that. It is the usual wish fulfillment, get isekai'd into another world, get a beautiful wife, straight away, live out rent-free in this beautiful, beautiful new world. And yeah, it's wish fulfillment, but I feel like the series presents itself, even just from the cover, it's an ideal sponge of life. I feel like it's one of those series that you kind of have an idea of what you're going to get into, and I don't mind that as much as I do with other series where it kind of presents it as one thing and then just throws harem stuff at you, and it doesn't really kind of move from there. From what I understand, the series gets very much about politics and finances and stuff like that, so I'm kind of invested in this. I'm looking forward to seeing how it turns out. But that's just my opinion. If you guys have read it, let me know in the comments what you have thought of it, and as always, go check out some of the other videos. It really helps out the channel. Leave a like, leave a comment, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.